ready to roll?
All right, Tim Heiss.
Here.
Keith Malloy. Sarah Black.
Here.
Delia Contreras.
Here.
Steve Shoemaker.
Here.
Okay, trust everybody's had a chance to review the minutes. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
First,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No appeals on here, presenters, Park Department. Okay. Steve,
I don't have anything except what's on the agenda.
okay. Amy?
And yes, I do have something. Okay. There was a meter out at R&D Holdings on 32. Apparently the meter froze and they had to replace it. So Brad is pretty much wanting to know if we are going to be billing the property owner for that, because they said if they don't maintain it, that is their responsibility. And it looks like the cost of the meter that just came in last week was $1,084.25. And he said the property owner made the comment, you know, in the past they always had a heater down there and they just failed to do that this year. So
Yeah.
pretty much just need a consensus if we're okay with billing the customer for that.
Yeah. I think we about have to on that.
Okay.
That sound accurate, Steve?
Yeah, that's how everybody's been managed in the past.
Okay.
Did you bring the copy of that invoice? You said you were holding for the Board of Works meeting.
No, that's still on my desk.
Okay.
Threw me off. So this is a copy of an invoice. Property owner on North Howard. There's two invoices there. The white one is for more work that they had scheduled to be done. The yellow one is actually what the city theoretically owns. So in the lead service line replacement process, something happened to this property owner's water pressure. They lost water pressure, something wasn't quite right. In that process, they hired a third-party plumber to come in and fix the water pressure issue after their lead service line was replaced. And we need to reimburse them for the cost of that portion of their bill. Technically, that could in theory then be turned back into Brackney for a reimbursement or credit on the overall bill, but it's just a few $100s, so.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised we don't run into more of this, just because when you.
Well, we've done it, we've ran into it twice,
Mhm.
and the lady on Union Street, she's never presented us with the repair bill yet, so. That's why I left it on my desk, because I knew I had another one coming, but I've never got the second bill.
Okay. So we just need a motion to approve the payment. Is it, so they've got 950.87?
It's whatever that yellow bill is.
Yeah, 950.87.
I don't sound that good.
Yeah, that's what the yellow one was, the white one was
Did I
225.
say it wrong? Yeah, I said it wrong. 225 is what we were.
Oh, okay. Well,
So this is the other work that they had done.
That's the other work that they had done.
So that was the one that, it just so happened they had a plumber there same,
Mhm,
at the same
correct.
time?
Okay.
Okay.
So it's what was that amount again? 292.57. Okay. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the
So moved.
payment. First, and need a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. All right. Old business, we have follow-up on the potential handbook changes. I don't have anything at this point. Do we need to have, I mean, we're still looking at this.
Yeah, I don't have any either.
I would encourage us to maybe set a meeting to put pencil to paper and start getting closer to this. We can bring new focus in, we can sit down with the department head, we can start moving this process forward. Right now, it's just going nowhere.
Okay. Do you want to coordinate what you want to do there?
Yep, I will do that.
As far as my inclusion in it, I'm pretty flexible, so
Okay.
I should be able to accommodate.
Is that
any
for the
kind of
pay
time.
rate?
That's on the vacation and sick leave.
So one thing when I was reading through there that, maybe to look at, cause I know the budget was one question of how do you accommodate for that, so I don't know if there would be an option of, because is it offering, the way that you pay out based on their pay right now, so it's different for everyone, is that correct?
It is, well, yeah, I mean, because everyone's got different pay
Yeah.
rates and different scales,
So if they cash it in, potentially maybe looking at a flat rate, so that would make your budget easier to figure out. If you did the 40 hours where they pay out, if it was a flat rate, then that would be easier to accommodate as far as your budget goes.
I don't think you're here at the last meeting.
I wasn't.
Yeah, so the problem is the budget period. Even if people were to use that time, it's not budgeted in anyway.
Oh.
So no matter which way you look at it, it's gonna be an issue for the budget.
So even if they use it within the year?
Right. We don't factor in,
For emergency service workers, police, fire, and EMS, there's no counting in the budget for.
So when they take their vacation, it's not planned in the budget?
No.
There's no money set aside for that?
It's not.
Let's
It's,
see.
it's not an item budgeted. Let me rephrase that. They don't take the 18 employees, police and fire,
Right?
calculate their hourly rates, calculate the number of days that they're allowed to take off,
Yeah.
and build that figure
Into
into
the
a budget
budget.
to pay for their replacement,
Right?
to cover the worker that has to come in behind them and work.
Now, see, I kind of disagree with that to a degree, because not so much on the police side, but the fire side has always had a higher overtime rate built into the budget. And it was my understanding that higher overtime rate was to accommodate paying for people when they were off.
If that's in there, and I haven't paid that close of attention, if it's in there, that's new since I left the fire
there's an
department.
overtime line item, but it's never factored in. You can look over the past several years and it's been the same number across.
Yeah.
So we're not adjusting it based on what they're making on an hourly rate. So it's not a true factor in what we're paying out in overtime. So not only is the overtime not calculated into that, the regular time that we're paying out on the full-time employee, taking off is not budgeted in there. The only thing that is budgeted in there is their yearly salary based on hours worked. So I'm unclear on why we can't make a decision on this. We've been talking about this for 2 months and can't come to some conclusion because it's not fair to the employees, one, and it's not fair to the city, two. And we just keep kicking the can down the road and haven't made a decision on this. It's caused more problems than not. I understand both for the employee and for the city, but it's just not written okay.
Right. So what do we need to do to move, to set a meeting?
I've said it for 26 years of my career. It's wrong. And it's wrong, and it affects both sides of the process, the employee side and the employer side. It's just wrong. It has to be fixed. The policy is written for 8-hour employees, and we don't manage 100% 8-hour employees. It has to be fixed.
And half of them are wrote in days, and half of them are wrote in days and hours, and some of them are wrote in out. It just doesn't. You can't put a number to it. You can't. It's. I'm sure that's why they're here, because it's caused a problem because of the way that it's captured in the city versus the way that it's divvied out. It's not. I mean, it just. We can't keep going like this. I mean, we've been talking about this for 2 months, and we have made zero headway, and it puts us in a bad spot. Puts the city in a bad spot. It puts employees in a bad spot. It puts former employees in a bad spot.
Well, as
I
of.
don't know if I'm allowed to talk, but that's what I'm here to address. Could I say something? Or that inappropriate?
No, go ahead. I think since we're in this discussion, go ahead.
Okay.
Just give your name and address and so forth.
For those who don't know me, my name's Tim Crawford. I've been employed by the fire department since July of 2000. I just recently retired as of yesterday after a little over 25 years of service. The biggest issue I'm here to try to get addressed is the personal time. Now, from day one, when I got hired back in 2000, the fire department personnel who work 24-hour days, and the policy manual clearly states you receive 4 personal days. Okay, for the fire department, that's a 24-hour shift. That's not hours. It's not 8 hours. Okay, so since 2000, I received 4 personal days, 4 24-hour shifts. Now, Tim Troxel was the chief when I started. Matt Blankley took over. Then it was me. Then it was Gary Moore. Then it was Steve Shoemaker. Everybody treated it exactly the same. Now, all of a sudden, we want to talk hours. Okay, if you want to talk hours, then your policy is completely blown out of the water because it states hours nowhere in that policy for personal time. It states days. Now, a police officer, their day is either 10 or 12 hours, so they should get 4 10 or 12-hour days. The street department worker, their day is an 8-hour day. They should get their 4 8-hour days. Fire department, our day is 24 hours. We should get our 4 personal days as the policy clearly states. Now, what Mark has done is he has removed the 4 personal days and said, oh, you only get 32 hours. Well, that's 1 day and 8 hours for a firefighter. That's wrong. That's not how the precedent was set for the last 26 years. It's not how every fire chief from 2000 till present has done it. In my opinion, that's completely wrong. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but it's wrong. I mean, you can't hire somebody and say you get 4 personal days and then 25 years later, because I'm cashing in my personal and vacation time. Now, you're gonna pay me for 96 hours, which is what I should have got. That's what I've gotten for the last 26 years. Or are you gonna give me 32 hours? That's a difference of $1,612. Now, to you, that may not be a lot of money. To me, that's a fairly good size of money, amount of money. So once again, I don't see how you can ignore 25, 26 years of precedent and all of a sudden just change everything at the spur of the moment. That doesn't seem right.
The conversations came up, one is a vacation time, correct? It's in days.
As far as the city's policy, I mean, I wasn't gonna bring that up, but according to the policy manual, it states after 10 years, you get 15 days. Now, the intent is you get 3 weeks. It's not what your policy says. So for the last, 15 years, I've been receiving 6 vacation days. So you wanna go back and pay me for 9 days that I didn't receive over the last 15 years? I mean, I understand the intent of the policy, which is the same as the intent on the personal days, but the policy manual is written horribly. Now, if you want to give me 15 days, okay, give me 15 days. That's not your intent. Your intent is to give 3 weeks vacation after 10 years, just like the intent is to give 4 personal days. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a horribly written policy for anybody other than a 40-hour employee. You know, when I was chief, I tried to get it changed. I know Steve tried to get it changed. I don't know who else has tried to get it changed in the interim, but they just would completely ignore us and they didn't want to even consider it. So what they did, and every chief did up until present day, is our pay stubs say 32 hours of personal time, which we have no control over what they put on that. They should have put 96. They chose to put 32 because that's what 40-hour employees get. So what they would always do for the fire department, they would deduct 8 hours from the personal time, and you would get your 24-hour shift. Just because they didn't want to change the policy and they didn't want to change how it was written on the checks. I guess maybe it was too hard for them. I don't know. Same with vacation. You know, they take 2.5 days of vacation away from me every time I took a vacation day. Well, I didn't take 2.5 days vacation. I took 1 day vacation. But you removed 2.5 days from my pay stub. So
And that's
it's
the
a serious problem.
Right. And that's the problem I run into is, one, this is based off when they were on salary.
Mhm.
So it didn't really matter. It was money in, money out at that point. The second part is how do I send over when your bank says 32 hours with the city? And I understand completely where you guys are coming from, but your bank says 32 hours with the city. How am I turning in 8 and paying you for 24?
I see your point
Right.
also. I just
So
know the way
it's-
it was done for the last 26 years.
But
yeah.
I get that completely, but I don't know how I turn in 8 hours of time off when we're paying you for 24. It doesn't make sense. And that's what I'm saying is, I understand what the precedent is, but I'm not going to sign my name to something that does that, for one. And two, we're back in here and it's not being fixed. Again, we have to do something for them that are leaving or that have left working full-time, but we have to do something moving forward. That's why I submitted what I submitted a month and a half ago, because it added and increased their time off without spelling out a day or an hour. It doesn't work like that. Because the way they do it at the police department is an hour for personal time. Because it does say in the policy is increments of hours that you take off.
It says that you can use it in increments
Right.
up to an hour.
Right. So the problem is they work 96 hours of pay, right? Technically.
Mhm.
106 till their overtime. The cops work 85 and a half till overtime. So their rate needs to be different. The fire department's rate needs to be different, and the city employee needs to be different, because they're not apples and oranges. The only problem I have is if I'm signing my name to payroll, and this is what it says in the book, I don't know how I pay someone for 24 hours or sign them off for 24 hours when they have an 8-hour bank. It doesn't make sense. It puts me in a predicament. When they get audited, then what?
Now, I'm probably gonna totally bomb this, because I don't do the payroll every time. But the way they explained how the fire department, how the vacation and everything has always been done, they take the 24 hours, divide it by 3, and use 1 8-hour increment. So that's how that comes into play. The problem comes in, I mean, the personal time, I think, is kind of more confusing than the vacation time. But, I mean, the vacation time pretty much seems cut and dry. I mean,
But it's
really
not.
though.
It's not, because
Not
it's
the way
written
they're
in
personal.
days,
Yeah.
and they're getting 2.5 days taken off
Exactly.
for 24 hours. So they're doing the math problem and coming up with hours and days. They're trying to figure that out. That's the thing, is they're doing it for vacation time. They're not doing it for personal time, because you get 8 hours off and you get paid for 24, but you're only taking 8 hours out of your bank technically. Same with sick time. Sick hours. We accrue it by the hour, correct? But when we're taking 8 hours out of their bank for a 24-hour shift.
And there's another point there too, that we refer to days, and we really shouldn't even have been referring to days, should have been referring to shifts.
Right, or something.
Because with a 24-hour shift, you're working in 2 days, 2 separate days, so how do you
Correct.
define that?
That's why when I guys was in hours. Is it a little bit top heavy? I don't think it's under anything that's normal, but it factors in the fact that they have to work 24 hours, the cops have to work 12 hours, and the city employee has to work 8 hours.
And I guess the reason I came here today is because I turned in my time, so I should be paid for my vacation time and my personal time. So like I said, that's what, 3 weeks of vacation, which is I think 144 hours, and then it would be 96 hours of personal time. Well, when she, and I've already turned this into Cindy, she has the email I sent her stating that this is what I guess I'm expecting to be paid out for. And, you know, of course, she was like, you know, I have no control over that part of it. It's like, I understand that. But I also understand that for the last 25 years, once again, not to be redundant, you know, I got 4 24-hour shifts. So on my way out, after serving the city for a little over 25 years, I expect to get paid out for 96 hours of my personal time. That's just the right thing to do, in my opinion. Not just because it's me. I'm the one that's getting, but that's the way it's been done forever, as far as I've been around anyway. So like Mark said, I think this is something that needs to be resolved sooner than later, because that's going to affect when I get my paycheck, and I'm not going to be a happy person when I get paid for 32 hours. That's not going to be acceptable to me. And if I have to, I'll take other means, but that will not be acceptable. So.
Well, the only
How much,
thing,
how much time did you get paid out for your personal?
32.
Okay.
So if I may speak, I'm here for the same reason. My name's Seth Clevenger. I just recently left full time. I just got paid out my personal time and vacation time. I was paid out 32 hours. Clearly in the handbook, I mean, this has been going since I've left, and I had to come here to get answers. I don't know how you could say 4 personal days and then pay out 32. Nowhere in the handbook does it have a definition of a day. It's as anybody, like he said, it's been treated like that for the past 25 years. Last year, when I would take personal day, it's 8 hours. So, I mean, the wording, I don't think is correct. And the reason I'm here is because I believe that I'm owed that 64-hour difference.
one of the things that's difficult, and I'm not disputing what you guys are saying at all in this regard, one of the difficulties is that when we have municipal employees that receive basically 32 hours because their day is an 8-hour day, but they still work their their pay period is what, 80 hours, and so then they're receiving, because their work day is an 8-hour day, then they would only receive 32 hours.
Mhm.
So now we're back and forth on balancing this between, because we can't have two separate policies by state statute, that we have to have one policy. So it's very difficult to make this balance between both the emergency services in particular and the municipal employees, because then now they're all of a sudden, you guys are getting 96 hours of personal days, but you're really, as far as days, you're only working 2 days a week. So you have flexibility that they don't have on, you do two 24-hour shifts and you're done. They have 5 days that they're committed to. I know it's all apples and oranges and different work. We all know all that, and that we know the differences in the type of work. But that's what makes this so difficult to navigate.
So my question is, I understand you can't have a single policy, but in that same policy, you have to be able to work that out, because Winchester does it, they have a separate group.
Now, that's what we have to have some designation in that, yes.
But that's not gonna help me now.
No,
On getting
I
my
understand
money
that, yeah.
I believe I'm owed
Yeah.
to your guys' handbook. I mean, it's not my job to interpret it, it's black and white in it
Yeah.
for personal days.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And what does your pay stub show?
32 hours.
32.
And how much were you paid for?
32 hours. I said, I have the pay stubs and everything
Well-
printed off.
So
I mean,
anybody else can feel free to speak on this, but the only proposal, or the proposal we have at this point in writing specifically is Mark's proposal. I don't know that necessarily everybody's familiar enough or ready to take a motion on that, but we've got that proposal, and we could act on that, but I'm not sure if that's prudent to do today without some further review. I don't know how comfortable everybody is with that. The other thing is to go ahead and we need to expedite it, but have a meeting, and we can use that and other materials guide to tweak a policy and get this corrected.
It just needs to be fixed, so.
Well, personally, before the last meeting that was when we had the snow, I went through all of that and read through all of that, but I feel like sitting down with the group, with people that are knowledgeable and can talk about this, because I don't know all of the ins and outs of everything. To work through that would be, I think, very beneficial, to talk through all of that and
Well,
get that done.
And the other thing I'll add to that is that we approve this, but I think the council still has to approve this.
It has to be
And
passed.
I think that even if we took Mark's policy that he presented us with, which I appreciate very much, I'm afraid if we tried to go to the council this evening with this, we'd probably get put off. So if it's possible that we could set something up yet this week, maybe, to get something accomplished and get this.
We can do it Friday, or we can do it next Monday, 1:45. That's it, reschedule.
Say Friday's good with me, and whatever anybody else wants to do. And I'd say to both of you right at the moment, I'd ask for some patience with us to get this correct, get this,
Next month is
to
President's Day.
get a solution.
So
If you go
my
ahead.
question is, what is the solution? Because he's brought out the 96 hours on the pay stub and everything else.
Well,
And like I said, I've been dealing with this since the summer.
I sitting here today can't promise you that.
1:45.
I'm not saying that won't happen. I just can't, I
Friday.
can't personally make you that promise right this
When
minute.
they've cashed fire department employees out in the past, how do they cash them out?
We tried to look these up, and it's not an easy cut and dry, because
What we have identified is, I haven't identified anybody that got more than 32 hours yet, but I'm still looking.
That's one of the reasons I asked for patience with that too.
I've called a
Because
few of the
some
last
of-
employees who left service, and most of them that I spoke to, Tim Puccini, Matt Good, they both used up all their time.
Okay.
So they took their, they took their personal days, which was 24 hours.
Yeah.
They didn't cash theirs in.
Yeah.
And that's where we're running into a problem, trying to
So,
find
well,
anything to compare it to,
Because
so,
they were used up.
yeah.
Everything I have located though that has personal time paid out, it was maximum of 32 to match your time card.
The other issue that I have with this is at the end of the year, which it's no fault of him. I see where he's coming from, where he doesn't feel comfortable saying something. But I had 20 hours left in my bank, to which previously that would be treated like 2.5 shifts if you're going off the 8 hours that was deducted.
Mhm.
But I wasn't able to use that to take off 1.5 shifts. So this is not only is it now, messing with my PTO being paid out, it messed with me last year where I had to use sick time because I technically only had 20 hours. And everybody else previous to that had used their 4 previous personal days because that's what's on the time sheet and that's what it's treated as. Versus me, I didn't get my PTO until August off my probation time, or around August. And then so I only had, that certain time and I saved it towards December, holidays and everything else, and I had to use it. And then I wasn't given that. And like I say, it's no fault of him. I see where he's coming from. But how can other employees be treated this way, but then I go use and I'm treated differently? Because, I see where you're coming from with the street work and everything else, but we're not 40-hour employees.
Right.
If that's the case, then I'm missing a lot of overtime over 40 hours. I get what the policy's saying. I get where the struggle is there, but it's not fair to me, it's not fair to him, it's not fair to the other person that left, it's not fair to the 7 other people that still work there, that their personal time right now is only a shift and a half,
Mhm.
or a quarter.
Yeah.
Even with the police department, they've been hour by hour. So it's not that it's something new. It may be new for the fire department, but it's not new for the rest of the city. If someone at the police department takes off personal time, they get dinged for the time that they're gone. That's how it's always been over there. So I think it comes down to a matter of who submitted it.
I think it does.
But like I said, it puts me in a predicament when their bank is hours and they're getting paid more than what they have on paper. And I couldn't wrap my head around the vacation days, because if you do the math of 2.5 days for 24 hours, that's in hours. So there's that. And then a sick day is what? Because if it held true with vacation, then you should have been given a vacation day, right? According to the policy, that's 24 hours. That's their day. So then what? But it's always been that they got hit for 2.5 days, which is back to hours.
Mhm.
So I don't understand how one can be days and one can be hours. That's the whole problem.
Yeah. Well, we need to get the word days out of this completely. I don't
agree.
even I don't even like that term. I don't like the way it was written for the previous.
But it didn't
Use.
matter because they were on salary. It didn't. They never crossed the threshold for it to make a difference, because they were getting paid the same amount no matter what.
Mhm.
They make more money taking off sick than they do if they work. That's the math isn't.
By the way, that
math.
yeah, it's got to be hour for hour.
Look at anyone that's been off long term. They made more money than the people working. You can look at their W-2s.
Yeah, it's
That
got to be hour
shouldn't
for
be.
hour. Okay, so what are we looking at? Talking
Monday,
Monday.
1:45.
I think you got to get cashed out, right? So I think it needs to be put on the table to make a decision for them.
Even if we decided today, we can't do anything about it. It's gonna have to go through the whole council process. It's gonna have to be amended policy book.
For them to get paid out, to make a decision whether he's getting 32 hours or if he's getting 3 days.
Well, I think we can make that. I think we've internally made that determination. So
What was that? I didn't hear determination.
we haven't discussed it publicly yet. We're still discussing. So that, I think we can move forward with. But to get a change made, it's gotta go through the council process.
So if we hash something out next Monday, then we can have it prepared for the following meeting. I mean, we should be.
I still don't think that answers their question.
No, I don't know. That's not, that's separate.
Well, if you want me to answer the question based on the information that we have, we've paid other employees out 32 hours. Their time card, their pay stub says 32 hours. They've known that from the date that they started working, that it says plain as day, 32 hours. Now, do I understand what they're saying? Yes, absolutely. Other employees have been cashed out at 32 hours. I have not found anybody that's not been paid out that way, and I'm still looking. So if we make an answer today, it's going to be like we paid out other employees. If you want me to
That's
keep
why I'm
I
looking,
asking.
want the results of that.
That's why I'm asking for a little bit of patience.
if you want us to keep looking, I'm happy to keep looking.
I don't think there's a safe way to interpret the book, that's the problem.
Right. And I'm sure
Yeah.
the city does it for, I'm not gonna say that yet, but
You've already said it.
if I get, I don't want to say cheated, but I'm gonna look at it as cheated out of $1,600, yes, I will get a labor attorney. And
Okay.
the city will lose.
Then you can talk to our attorney from this.
I won't be doing any talking, but
Under
The
advice of
policy
council, we
manual
can
will
no
do it.
longer have a conversation with you.
nope, you're making a mistake. Wouldn't be the first time the city has.
I guess my request wasn't, heeded.
What's the last cops that have left?
The last ones, names,
No. What'd they get paid out?
32 hours.
32 hours.
Okay.
And they work 12-hour shifts.
Which
Same
would be,
same conversation, just not as drastic.
right. And they would technically, if it was days, in their opinion, it would be 48,
Correct.
and that's not happening.
And everybody we've looked at has been paid 32 hours.
I understand where they're coming, I completely understand where they're coming from.
I do too. I lived it for 26 years. I said it was wrong.
But the math doesn't math, that's the problem. No matter which way you look at it. Like I said, I'm not gonna sign my name to someone getting
But-
paid 24 and only taking 8 from a bank.
And like
That's-
it or not, they both admitted their pay stubs say 32 hours. They know exactly how much time they have.
There's a 16-hour gap that who's paying for is my only question. And like I said, the vacation time is, they do it at 2.5 days for 24 hours.
And I don't recall that there's any definitions in the policy as far as defining what a day means.
No, everything's basically identified in the pay process because it's calculated in the payroll process is 8-hour days.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything to do with the cashing out piece either.
Nope.
That has nothing,
Right.
I mean, I
12
don't
years I was
submit
a
anything.
chief, I never submitted
Yeah,
any
you're right.
paperwork. That was
Yeah, you
handled
don't have anything.
by the office.
Right.
Of course, I also think there's a little bit of difference between cash out and use. That's just like if there wasn't, then we would never lose a vacation day
Right.
or a sick leave day. It'd roll the entire
Forever.
time. You roll every vacation day from the day you started employment to the day you left. You would never lose any days.
Right.
And that's,
And the precedent's been set by the city if you've been paying out 32 hours, no matter what department they're coming out of. It is what it is. That's what's always been done.
I'm not sure if that saves us, because that just means somebody didn't challenge it. But,
Well, when you talk about changing the policy for 20 years and don't change it,
right,
this is where we sit.
yeah. Okay, so we're set for next Monday, which is the
16th.
16th. 16. Okay. Okay, we'll move on here to new business, sanitary control valve for Greenwood Park. Great subject.
This is, again, a no-win situation. We need to do something. We are limited in what we can do. Greenwood Trailer Park is, their pumps have both failed. They are installing new pumps that are bigger, faster, and stronger than the old pumps. So now we're going to be getting more product faster. And Rob is still significantly concerned that it's going to overflow our system. IDEM has insisted on forcing them to run one pump at a time. We've never got that done. They've threatened litigation over this, and it's basically at a stalemate. But we still need to figure out how to be able to control the flow, or we're going to constantly be overflowing the system.
Overflow south lift, which is going to put a large area at risk. What was the?
That's,
Is that in?
do you have the copy of that?
Yeah.
Here's that's the left.
Yeah, the cost estimate for Cooley contracting is $41,569 for this is the 12-inch valve. This relocation of extra. What was that? Where was the? Is that close to South Lift? That there? Where's the? Do you know where the location is on that, or is it right in front of the park?
It's right in front of the park.
Right in front of the park, isn't it?
Ideally, we would want it in the park, but getting that permission is going to be,
Impossible.
well, I'm not saying impossible,
Well-
because they want to say the streets are ours, which we can find no documentation that the streets are ever been given to the city or the city's responsibility. So if the streets are truly ours, then in theory, we're working in our right of way.
Right.
But that determination's not been made just yet.
So, total cost $41,569. And so,
So where does it stand? I mean, is it just kind of in a stalemate at this point
Our
with the
attorney's
litigation?
talking to their attorney, and it's going nowhere.
Because that's a lot of money, and if they're installing bigger equipment and items, I don't know. understand what if we can't push something here.
Well, I think part of the problem is that we don't get, quite frankly, my opinion is that IDEM's making, telling what they want, but they're not really getting behind us and giving us any enforcement teeth.
Well, here's the issue. It's easier to cite us for an overflow
Right.
than to go after a privately owned entity.
Yeah.
And what IDEM is saying is we have to shut them off and force the backup to be in the trailer park in order for IDEM to come in. Because right now, they're doing nothing wrong because they're pumping it out of their park as fast as it can, even though it's all a private collection system.
Mm-hmm.
And the overflow's happening to us, which is forcing us to fill out all the IDEM paperwork.
Right.
So by slowing down their discharge, theoretically in a heavy rain event, it's going to back up in the park,
Yeah.
forcing IDEM into the park to navigate that conversation.
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemy because we just keep dealing with it instead of forcing and leveraging the issue.
Mm-hmm. And I think we can, I mean, I could see where they could have, their attorney could make an argument that we've regulated them needlessly, but I don't think that's the case, because if we're just regulating our intake to what our limit is on what we can handle.
Correct.
And as long as we can document that that's what we've done.
And every day of the week, we're fine until you get 3 inches of rain
Mm-hmm.
over the course of an afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything from the trailer park all the way to State Line, all the way north to Deerfield is going to be flooded and
Yeah.
backed up.
Yeah, everything on the south of Chestnut Street's
Mhm.
on that, and some north of Chestnut Street. Yeah, I know everything's south.
Yeah.
Some part of
The
north.
downside of the hill, it's just terrible.
Yeah. Like on Columbia Street, that main starts just north of Chestnut Street. I think McDonald's is connected to it, but then everything goes down to the south end, and then I don't know if both of you are familiar how that system works, but everything from the south side, south of Chestnut, well, just anything, pretty much south of the railroad tracks, goes to south and flows to South Lift, which is right on the corner of the property that you own, Diane, and on South Street, and then it pumps up to Pearl Street, and then gravities from Pearl Street all the way around town to the plant. But it has to be pumped up to Pearl Street from there. And what'll happen is when they flood that, all the water accumulates from the trailer park, that's because their sewers are compromised, that they get huge amounts of infiltration, then it will flood that south lift, which can basically disable the whole south end. Especially the people on the south part of the south end will really be in trouble. But, and that's even, that park's flooded in the past and been various problems, but last year Rob called me on a Saturday noon and said, hey, can you come look at this? And the last manhole that's in the park on that sewer, on that sanitary, he had the lid off, and the water was probably, it wasn't anywhere near the top yet, it was probably 2 feet from the top, and it looked like it was flowing backwards. And they were pumping so much water that it was coming in. I took a shovel, and I dropped the shovel in just at the surface, and it would go backwards the wrong direction. Then when you dropped it in down where the pipe is, then it turned and go forward, because the water was swirling like this because it was so overloaded. And that was in the park. So I guess what we're looking for is a recommendation to take to the council, I assume.
I'll recommend it to go to council, absolutely.
Yeah, well, is that form of a motion?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a first
Is that, what's the recommendation for?
To
to, here, this
hire
is the,
coolies to put in.
there's the,
Is there any way that we can get the trailer park to cover this cost, or?
No.
no.
That's-
They're completely,
They are
if
considered
we could get
hostile.
anything out of them, that we wouldn't even have to do this. They're completely uncooperative.
The only reason we know they're putting in bigger and faster pumps is because the contractor that they hired to do the work notified us that, hey, this is going to be a problem for you because you can't handle what they're already sending you. This will be worse. They've had no conversation about
Yeah,
the
they're,
repair of their
and
lift
they
station.
say they're overloading their system in the park. You know, like I say that, with what I saw at the manhole there, they're already overloading their own system.
So when they install that, there's nothing that's going to, I mean, there's nothing that's going to go wrong on their end, I guess I'm asking.
Absolutely. If we close it, or partially close it, it will slow the amount of flow coming into the city system, and then potentially, depending on how much there is, could back up into the park.
Okay, but it
Which-
still is into the park, like,
And the plan is to throttle it, not shut it off.
Correct.
Just to throttle it to where it keeps us from flooding our lift station,
right, but it's still gonna back up into the park.
potentially,
Trailer park, correct.
Oh,
in
Not Harder Park, the trailer park.
okay.
trailer park. Yeah, it potentially will. I mean, it's not an absolute determination. It has to have enough of an event to force that. But
I'm just wondering, like, if they know, you know, this is gonna happen if you don't help cover this cost. They're not interested. They don't-
Absolutely
They don't care that it's gonna back up.
not. No.
So this is the city
Has
responsibility.
this been, have you had this discussion with Mara about the legal side of this at all?
Not recently, I haven't.
Okay.
I had the discussion with her when we initially turned their threat of litigation over to Mara with all our supporting
Mhm.
documentation.
Yeah,
All of Rob's pump reports and
yeah.
everything that we've done, all the billing and everything.
What was her response to that at that point? Was it, I mean, it didn't throw up any red flags to her at that point?
No, she said, don't have any more conversation with them and I'll take care of it. And it basically just sits there in limbo until there's an event. And in my mind, this will be the event. But
Yeah,
we have no recourse. And with spring coming on, Rob is just terrified.
yeah.
Because
It
his,
would be interesting to find out how much they're paying to put in a bigger, faster, better, whatever
thousands of dollars.
internally.
But
I mean,
if I ask the contractor, they may tell us, they may not, I don't know. It's their pumps. They were during rain events, they literally run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as hard as they can pump
Yeah,
water out of
they-
that trailer park.
They burn pumps up at a rapid rate because of the amount of runtime on
Their
them.
solution is to buy bigger pumps that pump more water.
so if we do
Instead of
this, I
fixing
mean,
their infiltration problem, they just buy bigger pumps.
Yeah.
And they've been told by one of their contractors that this is a problem that will never be resolved. You need to just put in a pressurized, shallow system
Mhm.
and fix it. And they won't do that because that was about $3.5 million.
Yeah.
And that was one of their contractors that told them that. they're chasing bad engineering when that park is designed.
Yeah,
I mean, they built it in a bowl. I don't,
yeah. Well, I don't think you'd never be able to build up there now. If you had that location, you'd never get permission to build up there. You'd never get a drainage permit,
nope.
because that system was not in place at all at that time.
So is this, like Delia said, so is this our responsibility?
In theory, yes, it would be ours because it would be on our side of the operation. It would be between their pumps and the connection point to the city.
But if you slow down the filtration, it would actually be in their property.
The overflow potentially would be in the trailer park.
And that's
Which
maybe
is-
when they can take some responsibility when that happens, so you don't have to do this.
Without sounding completely rude, they're not going to take any responsibility until they're forced to clean something up with the state.
Yeah.
Right now, we're being forced to clean things up with the state, and we get fined and penalized and all of those things because it overflows the city system, not the system that's creating a large percentage of the issue.
So we don't really have a choice.
I mean, it's been presented 3 or 4 times and the council's never approved it. So we have a choice, we can still do nothing. But bigger, faster pumps is gonna just produce bigger, faster problems for us.
That's something that we have to do.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
It's okay if it dies with a second, it's okay.
I feel like they should be responsible.
Well, they
I
should
think
Paying
so.
for some
They
of
should
this,
be.
but-
We're not disagreeing with you.
They should be. We're basically going to, the biggest problem is that what we're going to do if we, once again, and I hate this, is that we will end up with the overflow and the fine by IDEM because they're going to flood our lift station, they're going to disable our system, and we're going to take the hit that could be, I don't know how many thousands of dollars on the fines, and so, and they're not going to suffer anything for it. That's the really unfair part, is that we'll take the hit because they'll pump it to us and then we won't be able to handle it because it'll be beyond our capacity.
Yeah.
Because they just up their capacity.
So bottom line, in the meantime, the people paying rent to that trailer court, they're the ones that are gonna be suffering from all of the,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who's gonna
And
clean
once
that
our,
up?
once our system fails,
IDEM will force them to hire a contractor to come and do it.
once our system fails, they'll suffer, then they'll fail too, because once they overwhelm our system, in all likelihood, they may not suffer as much, but they'll still suffer the failure, especially if they disabled our lift station, if our south lift failed to function at some point because of the overload, then everybody on the south end shut down. Then it really gets ugly. And it all just stems from massive stormwater infiltration into their system because of a failed early 1970s system that was not engineered properly in the first place. And then there's a lot of failing pipe, failing underground infrastructure.
Maybe maybe at the meeting for Monday, I'll have Rob here and he can explain from a technical sense what the significance of this shut-off valve will do for the city.
Okay, so are we moving from a working meeting for the handbook into, now we're starting to.
No, I understand that. I just feel like they should be responsible for some of the financial costs of that, but I understand that they're not going
Well, the only way we have to go after that is through litigation.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I get that. It's just frustrating.
Because they won't voluntarily do anything.
Yeah, that is.
So they're voluntarily trying to sabotage our system at this point. And I'm sure the contractors inform them what they're going to force, and they still aren't getting it. I don't know if they think that we should somehow or another upgrade it. But even the biggest, when several years ago when we put a flow meter in, we've not gotten tremendous accuracy out of it, but did get some flow numbers. And then we created a billing for that wastewater, which the numbers, I don't think they've ever paid any of those bills, have they? But we started billing them for the excess water in that. And I said to Rob, I said, well, shouldn't that get IDEM off our backs because we are billing for this? He says, no, they still consider it I&I, still consider it infiltration. So it's still, even if we're collecting for it, billing it like it's wastewater, they don't want that storm infiltration in there no matter what. So even though they're getting billed for it, regardless of whether they pay for it, that doesn't matter because IDEM still identifies it as excess stormwater that should not be there. So. And we don't have to make a recommendation to the council to take that to council at this point. But it would go, that's what I'm asking about, whether we want to make a favorable recommendation. Because it'll be ultimately a council decision. So.
Might have a first and a second.
If it'll help any, I'll second.
Now you seconded
I
it.
did.
Or did
I
okay.
did it.
All right. Well, if you did second it, then let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Okay, water main repair at wastewater plant. Now, I think we need to discuss this, all what we did. It's
Done.
It's done. It's
And
an
it was
under council
under the-
amount,
Yeah.
and I didn't, but we went
I
ahead
think
and
the
did it.
repairs all
There's
done,
a
put it back together.
There's a water main failure at the wastewater plant that they repaired it a couple times, but it kept failing and was poorly done in the first place. Wrong materials, so we had coolies do the repair and do it properly.
Yep.
And there's some critical process that needs to be. We need to have water to the admin building for pretty desperately, so that's been taken care of. Right-of-way permit.
Yeah, so I can find nothing where we've ever had right-of-way permits or issued them. We have a fiber contractor requesting a fiber permit. I sent them to the county, and the county through Ed sent them back to me because the part of the right-of-way falls within city boundaries, not the county.
Mhm.
So I think Amy's included what the county does for a right-of-way permit. You can turn this into an absolute disastrous process and make hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in the process, or you can just plot them with the GPS and create a layer in our GIS system so that we have point of contact for the company whose responsibility it is to maintain the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Ed and the county do. They don't really do anything over and above.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have anything, so at a minimum, I wanted to present it to the Board of Works. Probably it needs to go through council and an ordinance be created, so we do it the same time after time after time. But at a minimum, we need to issue some type of a permit for this job that's right here before us now, and probably create a local ordinance to navigate it moving forward.
Okay.
And we don't have the bandwidth or the manpower to do a lot with this, so tracking it on a GIS map, I think,
I think that's
is
sufficient for what's
sufficient,
necessary.
and documenting whose line it is and how to get a hold of them is more than enough information.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this one, just because
know
that's
you
what I
would.
do.
You already did.
Yeah, okay, so, because this, you know, same, even before Steve put this on here, the listserv, you know, the one where everyone throughout the state is saying, okay, what's going on with this? The concern is, if they're, you know, digging under our streets and stuff, if they damage our lines that we've got under the street, you know, who's being held responsible for this? I mean, do we want everyone
Yeah,
to?
it's not the existence of it, it's the process of doing it, and then the liability on that.
On their end?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do we include something where they have to have X amount of insurance to, you know, confirm that, yeah, you know, if they're digging around in there and
Yeah,
they
that's-
damage something that,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That's prudent.
I mean, we can add anything you want to that contract. Randolph County sent me their agreement in a Word document so we can change it.
Okay.
You know, I don't really have an opinion. And since I've been in my position, this conversation's hit my desk twice.
Mm-hmm.
Both times I sent it to the county, Ed pushed it back the second time.
Okay.
So that's,
Okay. Well, I think some simple liability language should be. Does the county have anything in theirs at all for that? Or?
it doesn't look like it.
no, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
It's very basic, you know.
Should we push this off tomorrow to give us some liability language?
That's fine.
I mean, I think we need to make sure that, just because it could get a little crowded, especially where that's at. I know there's other stuff out
I
there.
think it's on Jackson
Yeah.
Pike.
It's on
somewhere.
Jackson Pike, right there in front of the White House. So I don't know what all's in the ground out there, but we've got some infrastructure there, some water and sewer. I don't know what else is in there. Probably some other fiber and such.
I'll send it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Don't have any visitors here other than you guys, or you at this point, so. Date of the next Board of Works meeting, Monday, February 23rd, 2026 at 1:45 p.m. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Tell Keith it was the great meeting.